Thank you for listening to the BjjBrick Podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome back to the BjjBrick Podcast. This is episode 321. My name is Byron. I'm here with my buddy Joe. Gary's out today. Today we have an amazing show. We have Gokor Chivichyan on for our interview this week. We're excited to bring you him. He's got a wealth of knowledge over a wide range of grappling arts. So Gokor is definitely one that you want to listen to today. Joe, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Good to be here on the phone with you this morning, Byron. We're down a member, so we're only half as good looking as we were last week.
1/3 is good looking.
Gary's busy this week. We're doing it in the middle of the week because Byron's got a big trip planned. So we'll do the best we can.
Yep, we're going to do great. This might even be one of the better episodes. If Gary was here, I'm sure he would say the same thing about one of us being missing. But excited to bring this episode to you guys. In kind of assimilating this episode, I was thinking of an off-the-mat lesson, and I was kind of struggling, but then one popped into my head. So my wife has gotten into taking walks in the evening, and of course, if I'm home, I get taken along on that. So we just walk around the neighborhood with the dog, and that's I usually eat some fruit along the way. I'll bring something to do, and we chat and stuff, and it's fine. And finally, in Kansas, the weather is nice. We don't get many of these months, so we're out there walking around, and it is surprising how many people. So we live in a pretty friendly neighborhood, low crime rate, and people generally, a lot of times, if you make eye contact with somebody driving, they'll wave at you and stuff, but there's a certain percentage, and it's above 20. You'll be walking on the same street, and they won't even look up at you and smile or do anything. And it's weird to me. And so we're not on a busy street to where you're passing people all the time. It's like because if that's the case, it's not weird to not say hi to somebody. But you see somebody 100 yards away or meters away, and you're walking towards them, you're approaching, and they just never look at you. And this doesn't happen. Most of them do, but occasionally they won't. And so what we've gotten into the habit of doing is be like, "Hi, how are you?" Like real friendly, real abrupt, and it kind of just that they look up like they knew we were there. They were just ignoring our presence, and they say, "Hi, doing good," and then they just walk on. But it's just so odd that some people prefer not to have any of that interaction while they're on a walk, and to take it back into jiu-jitsu or more or less maybe self-defense or martial arts. It is very important if you're out in the about, head up, eyes out, looking around, and being aware and interacting with your environment. Put your phone down while you're walking, and it's just surprising that people that don't do that, and I think it's a mistake. If you're looking for somebody, to look at from the other person's point of view. If you're looking to victimize somebody, maybe grab a purse, or just turn someone into a victim with some crime. You want the person who won't look at you. You want the person who's got the shoulders slouched and is looking at the ground. So don't be that person. And if you're approaching somebody else and they're looking at you, I think you should say hi or smile or say, I don't know. It's just odd not to for me, for maybe my personality, but it's been kind of fun because we've taken a little bit of the offensive. I think it's a little bit rude to walk across somebody and there's nobody else around for a quarter mile and not even acknowledge their presence. So we've taken it a little bit extremely, and no matter what, we're saying hi to this person and we're going to get them to interact with us in just a few words. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but for self-defense purposes, if you're alone, if you're at all concerned about somebody, looking them in the eye and acknowledging their presence has shown, I don't have the stats with me here, but I've read about this, has shown this cut back on the likelihood of getting attacked or mugged. They want somebody who won't look at them.
Man, that's a great life lesson. And you're 100% right. awareness is key to prevent attacks. You walk confidently, you're aware of your surroundings, you're just less likely to be a victim. I would also add, just from the social aspect of being friendly and creating a community you want to live in, and then you can take that to jiu-jitsu, and it's the same thing. If you walk in and out of the gym and you pass people along your path as you're heading to the dressing room and none of them say hi to you, that's not a really great vibe for a gym. And so, you can be a part of making that culture at your gym. Make sure you make eye contact with people walking in and say hi, welcome to the gym, and your school will be better off for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point, Joe.
So your life lesson this week, I think, is similar to the quote, or has some correlation to the quote. The quote's by Mary Kay Ash, and it says, pretend that every single person you meet has a sign around his or her neck that says, make me feel important. Not only will you succeed at sales, you will succeed in life. And I think that's really true. And that goes back to what I was saying about being friendly. When people come into the gym, a new person should feel like they're the most important person at the gym that night. Wouldn't you agree with that, Byron?
Yeah, if you're trying to run this gym like a professional place, like a business that you're wanting to grow, if you are a gym owner and you've just got a few students and you've been open for longer than you feel that you should justify as a few students, for a few months you're going to have just a few. But if you've been open for 2 years and you've got 3 people training with you, something's wrong. Maybe your marketing, maybe when the first person walks in the door, they're not feeling like they're important. And that's a pretty big, I don't know, I like that idea. Make every person feel like they have a sign, or just pretend people have a sign around their neck that says, make me feel important. Because most people have that desire to feel important. And if you take the time and listen to them and give them personal attention, especially in today's digital world, and people don't give individual attention much, even in one-on-one settings. You'll go to a dinner and everybody will be on their phones. Well, that doesn't make you feel important. Kind of went off on a tangent there, but
for sure. No, but for sure, it's a good. Obviously, the quote is meant for salespeople, but as they say, it'll just help you succeed in life in general. And man, if you're running a martial arts school, or even if you're a part of a school and you're wanting it to grow, you become a salesperson for that school. So, it's a great quote.
Yeah, it's a good way to run professional and personal life as well. I think we're all guilty of it, but when my wife comes home from work and if I'm already home, if I take, think about this, okay, when she comes home, I want to make her feel important. And whether I do that or not, usually, but if I just think about that, hey, okay, she's going to be coming home, maybe a long day, whatever, I want to make her feel important. And just try to accomplish this, mission fail or mission accomplished, whatever. But just the attempt, I think, is important in any relationship you have. And that goes to, I think, the reverse as well. If you, for your coach, we think about it as, coach make the students feel important. But also, if you're a student, making your coach feel like, they're important to you, could be great, some great rewards. I get, occasionally we'll get an email about how, the podcast or the audiobook has helped somebody. And that really feels good as far as, motivation and know that we're doing the right thing. And it's a small gesture. It's somebody typing an email to BjjBrick@gmail.com or send us a message on our Facebook page and tell us, what they got out of this particular episode or how something helped them. They're just taking a little bit of time making us feel important, that we're doing important work, and it goes a long way. So if you win a tournament or place, or you get a belt promotion, take a little bit of time and thank your coach and make them feel important, because it'll mean a lot to him or her. I mentioned an audiobook. we do have a couple. I want to tell you about our audiobook that is designed for people who are relatively new to jiu-jitsu. So I know you have some experience in jiu-jitsu. You're here listening to this podcast. You most likely been on the mat a few times at least. But we do have a book called Your First Year of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's going to run you through all the things that you're going to typically encounter in that first year, and kind of help you get over some of those hurdles. And the main goal, is to help smooth out that first year, make it a little bit easier, and help you find that joy in jiu-jitsu, so where you're doing it for many years to come. Because, if you can't get through that first month with Chapter 2, the first month in BJJ, you're not going to have any success that first year if the first month kind of knocks you out. But really, if you could do jiu-jitsu for a year and end up with a smile on your face most of the time, you're going to be doing jiu-jitsu for a long time. And that's the key to having that successful jiu-jitsu journey that many of us are after. It's about 2.5 hours long. It's an audiobook, pretty much like a podcast. There's a link in the show notes. It's a small price of $11.99. So, and that money goes and helps support the podcast. So check it out if you are in that market.
Yep. And if you're not in that market, if you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a couple of years and you think frequently, man, I wish I would have had some guidance getting through my first year, you can buy it for a gift for someone that just started. Maybe you've got a friend who just joined the gym or something. So get them a copy.
Yep. Good idea, Joe. He is the most interesting grappler in the world.
He has never needed to go check a noise in the middle of the night. He just lays and waits, ready to play guard. Long ago, there was a guard called the Caterpillar Guard. This guard was pretty ineffective. After spending 2 weeks working on this guard, he made a few changes, and it became what is now known as the Butterfly Guard.
I don't always listen to podcasts, but when I do, I prefer the BjjBrick Podcast. Stay sweaty, my friends.
All right, my friends, I'm happy to bring Gokor Chivichyan to the BjjBrick Podcast. Gokor is kind of in a unique spot. He's got gold medals in international competitions in Judo, Sambo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Makes him a unique grappler as far as diversity of experience. He's trained with such athletes like Ronda Rousey and Karo Parisyan. And a friend of the show, Neil Melanson. You've got kind of your roots with all those, or you've helped them become who they are today. And a notable thing that was happened in 1998, you were named Judo Instructor of the Year by Black Belt Magazine. Gokor, I'm really excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you, my friend. Me too.
So could you just tell us a little bit of a personal history of kind of where you started and with martial arts and kind of bring us up to speed with where you're at today? I know there's a lot there, and you're a lifelong martial artist, but if you can bring us up to like... with a bit of a quick version of how you got your start and how you ended up where you're at now.
Yes, I started very young when I was 5 years old. I was a very aggressive kid, very much none of those kids are sitting home all day long. So basically, I like to fight, and I always fight on the street and older guys. Things like that. When you're kids, you have not too much big brain, so you do whatever makes you have fun. So my fun was go outside and find someone to beat him up. So that was when I was a kid. And the people see me, they know who I am and everything. So they asked me if I would like to train wrestling. So I went to the freestyle wrestling in 1968 when I was 5 years old. So it's in Armenia, Yerevan, which is the capital of Armenia. So I grew up on there, and my town was Erebuni. Some of Armenians, they will hear that, and they will know what I'm talking about. And he took me to the wrestling, a couple of years of doing the wrestling. And I see a lot of Sambo guys upstairs, so I thought always I can go and beat those guys up. So one day I have a chance to train with them. So actually they beat me up, and then I thought, okay, well, I'm doing the wrestling, so I should do this too. So I ended up training Sambo and wrestling at the same time. That was in 1971. So a little while training Sambo, Judo, which is Koshin Judo. It's like a JiuJitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It comes up onto Armenian. First time, demonstrate most of the Sambo guys, and I'm the one of them. So I took the Judo, and we went to the tournament in some place in Russia. So after that, we started doing the Judo, and now it was 3 type of training, wrestling, sambo, judo, it was too much for me. And my parents, they want me to quit one of them, but I don't know. I don't want to quit none of them. I love all three of them. But eventually I quit wrestling a little while later, and then I stick with sambo and judo. So this is part of how I started my martial art when I was 5. So then I win world champion, come up a sambo when I was a young boy, the judo, and then also, travel many countries everywhere, here and there. Before 16 years old, I went in many, many, many championships, and then 16 and a half, I come to America. So this is part what I live in Armenia and part what I did. And I don't want to forget to tell you, I also did the boxing for 4 years too, because I want to know how to punch someone,
Yeah.
So that's what
it's so that was all before you moved to the United States, and I like how you're highlighting that you had a lot of just competition experience, and I think that's one thing that with in jiu-jitsu, a lot of times we start this as a hobby later on as adults. And if we didn't wrestle, you're on the mat and you're looking at somebody who's going to be attacking you, or you're going to be attacking them, and it's like the first time this is happening in the tournament setting for you. That's nerve-wracking. But if you're able to wrestle as a kid or do another combat sport as a young person, you get to do this hundreds of times, and so it's not a big deal that you're looking across the mat as somebody who's going to be coming after you, and you're going to be doing your best. And I think that helps a lot with the nerves, is just getting the experience of having a lot of matches. It sounds like you had a ton.
I have too many different type of wrestling competition, sambo competition, judo competition, and I got too many different type of things. And always been a successful all of those sports I did. Like I say, I win a national championship many times, and I win a international, European champion, world champion. When I was a kid, I was the undefeated kid, and within every sport I compete and I win, until I come to America, and then when I come here, there's no jiu-jitsu at that time. And I end up competing at no holds bar, which is in then Shuto and Japan. I start make money, and then the money I make, I bought a house for my family and here and there. But I was enjoying. It was easy for me. It was nobody understand what is the grappling can do. That time, too many people that understand what I do. But what I do, I beat them up. And they don't even have rules to tell me not to do this and not to do that. Until I win a couple of world championships in Shuto, and then also a few of them, the fight was illegal the time in America. They don't allow to do anything until I meet 1988 the Gracie brothers when they come to the national championship in judo. They want to demonstrate the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. When I looked at, I'd say, though, this is not a Brazilian jiu-jitsu, this is a Koshin judo. That's exactly what we learned Koshin judo when I was in Armenia. So we're doing most of the 75% ground game and 25% stand-up game. And then, that's basically what we did when I was in Armenia. So we meet them, and then they see me how good I am, and they invite me to the garage. They become friends, and then we train together a little longer time, and then I meet the Machado brothers, and we train together and teach each other and stuff like that. So many, many years. But being a many time competing different type of tournaments, I never compete in jiu-jitsu. A lot of people I compete in jiu-jitsu guys a lot. I have lots of black belt students in my academy, and they're world champion in jiu-jitsu, but they come under me and training with me and learning the system, what I developed. Actually, when I developed the grappling, and today is the world famous. The grappling sport, it comes from me. I made the grappling sport, and today it's the most popular sport, popular than jiu-jitsu and popular than anything. This comes from me, and 35 years ago I started. What the name come of grappling is because when I competed, Gene LaBelle, it was a coach for me, and he was calling Gokor, don't strike with him, grab him. He knows if I grab the guy, and I will take him down quickly and beat him up in the ground. And then when we're talking about fighting, he says when the Gokor goes there and grab them, and they're doing a grappling with them. So the grappling word, it comes out from there, not even a word, American word before. And somehow we start using a grappling world. And that's what comes the grappling. And then I was the one that brought the Leglocks to United States. And I teach too many guys are they interested, and too many guys, they were scared. And they say, we don't want to do the Leglock because it's illegal and it's very dangerous. But today, after 35 years later, 95%, maybe even more percent, everybody does Leglocks. And everybody win with Leglocks. So this is what the 35 years ago was I telling people to do it, and they start understanding after 35 years later what I'm thinking. Generation change, and the new generation understand it a lot more better than the old generation.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, it's grappling has come a long way since then, and it's definitely interesting to see these things happening and still changing today. But definitely, it sounds like a very unique time to be in the United States with your skills that you had, and just this part of the world was unaware of that, and just a crazy kind of a situation that really it won't happen again because now with the internet and that sort of thing, people will always be aware of certain things. But when you moved to the U.S., nobody really around you knew the techniques that you knew, and you were either teaching or performing on them in fights. So yeah, it's kind of a crazy story.
Yes, I was very kind to teach people. I was grabbing bad people from street, taking to the dojo, and two people they hate each other, they want to beat up each other, and I take them there. I put the gloves on the hands. I say, you know what? You don't like each other. They just beat up each other as much as you want. So and then they 1 minute later they get tired. I say, come on, you hate the guy. Come on, get up and beat him up. So finally they both understand that what they do is stupid things, and they come friends. And then they come my students, and then the students get bigger and bigger. Like over 45 people I got from street, from the gangs, from the here people, there people, bullies, all kind of people I put together. I bring them nice people out of them. A lot of them turn to the doctor, lawyer, and some of them never understand it and still goes to the jail. But I help out too many guys until I start get seriously to teach, because I was not seriously teaching because I was competing myself. But comes to this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World Championship I win, and the Pan American game also in 2019. It was something I wanted to do a long time ago, but I never have time. I got lots of seminar I give all over the world. Very busy. I have one of the biggest and strongest school in maybe United States, maybe in the world. And we got over 450 students running, only one location. In Europe, I have over 10,000 students. They're training under my school name, Hayastan MMA Academy. And, all these things keep me so busy. But, this year, 2019, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And because a lot of people ask me, if you do jiu-jitsu, how can you do it? I said, well, I cannot say how I can do it. The one thing I know, jiu-jitsu world champions, the young boys that come into my academy, I grapple with them. I play jiu-jitsu. I never played jiu-jitsu rules, be honest with you. But I grapple with, I catch everybody. So I have no issue, no problems. But to go into the jiu-jitsu tournament, so I have to be completely understand the rules, what they have. Don't do anything wrong, otherwise they take you out. So it kind of makes me nervous to think about not to do this, not to do that. So it's 50% out of my tools are out of me. But still, I decided to compete, and I decided to compete their own game. And I want to have another title, another world championship title. So now I have it: jiu-jitsu, grappling, MMA, judo, sambo. Every one of those, I got the world champion title. So I don't think so anybody in this world, in the planet, have all these titles are together. So, and beside that, I'm a good looking too, you know.
You got me beating all the categories, Gokor.
Yeah.
So
I have to. That's in my blood.
When you were a kid and you started learning a new art, did you bring with you the ideas from the old art or the art that you were working on previously, or did you learn it as a kind of a new thing and a new approach? And how do you approach that now if you were to learn something new?
Yeah, let me tell you, I have to be honest with you. I learn a lot from a lot of other people when I come to America. I see different judo. When the jiu-jitsu comes, I learn a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. Some of those techniques I still do, and I learn a lot of other things too from different guys. Doesn't matter was the black belt or is a white belt, and sometimes they do things and I don't know. I don't have no ego. I'm not those kind of guys. I say I know everything. I'm not a god. So basically, I'm a human being like everybody else, but I'm the one of them. I have no ego. I like to learn, and I training. It's almost 51 years I'm doing sport. I'm 56. I start 5. I'm still learning, my friend. If you come to my dojo and show me something I don't know, I will be happy to try and learn that. And that's the way I am, and that's the way my students are. And we are very humble. And none of my students has the attitude. If anybody shows the attitude, I kick them out of my school. So everybody have to be very humble. People come to my school. Everybody loves it because everybody's very friendly. It's like a family, and we always welcome people, family. Right now I have a Team German. It's here. We have all the time Team Canada, Team German, Team France, Team everybody. Most of the guys, the jiu-jitsu guys, they come in. And we have also judo and sambo guys are coming too. Most of the MMA coming. So I work with those guys. I teach them. I prepare them. Whatever they have in the future they want to do, I help them as much as possible.
What do you think if someone's coming from across the world to train with you? What are they looking for to tune up or to change in their game in particular by coming to you?
Like I have a lot of Brazilian students. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champions. I'm very, very good Jiu-Jitsu guys. They're unbelievable good. You know what they say? They're very smart. They're very smart. They say, I know Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a world champion. There is another world champion Jiu-Jitsu. I can compete him and I can beat him, or maybe he can beat me. But he said, if I come and train with you and I learn your system and your style, the highest style, and now I am Jiu-Jitsu plus the highest style. And now anybody else comes to me, they're not going to be equals with me. So I'm going to be beat him up in my Jiu-Jitsu as much as I know. Plus, I know your system, and that's extra for me. And you know how smarter they are. And one of them comes, and next second one comes, and third. And then they see each other. Oh, my God, this guy is so good already. How that happened? Wow. He goes and train with Gokor and Hayastan team guys. Oh, you know what? Let me go and train over there too. And this is the way where we're having lots of people here.
So how do you train in a way that helps the student the most? So everybody, I mean, the techniques I'm sure are great, but how are you showing them or teaching them to students to where it has the biggest impact on their game? Is there something that you do differently?
Yes. I don't know if it's differently or it's a same, whatever. That the difference, I don't know. Everybody has a different type of teaching ways. one thing I know, every time I give seminar, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it, and everybody say they understand. They learn, and one seminar they learn more than they train in 7 years somewhere else. So this is what other people telling, and I'm not telling myself. Most of the time, the seminar I tell guys, I say, after seminar, you go back to the Instagram, or Facebook, whatever you want to write. To write exactly the feeling you have. If you don't like the seminar, just tell them you don't like it, and just tell the truth. But most of the time, the guys come up and said we learn. One day we learn a lot of techniques. Then 7 years, or in more than 7 years, we don't learn as much as we learn today.
Is it because you have is it your variety of backgrounds enables you to see things a little differently on the mats?
Well, I have a lot of different techniques that people don't know, and a lot of different ways to do it. Lots of leg locks, because a lot of people see people winning by leg locks. They're crazy to learn the leg locks because they're thinking, okay, I'm learning the leg locks, and this is the next tournament. I'm going to beat up this guy, beat up that guy. So people have a future, and when they train with me, the future comes true. That's what they're telling me. I'm not really asking everybody question. I go there, teach, and do whatever I have to do. But people after that contact me, writing here and there, a lot of good things. I never hear anything bad so far. So. Happy with that.
Yeah, and you've been doing it for a long time, so you think it would have happened by now?
Oh yeah. It's like I say, 51 year training, and I started the seminars in 1987, 88, and until today, almost 31 years, I'm doing seminars.
So what is
all over? We got 110 affiliate schools in all over the world,
What is the difference of approach? Because you're very good at both performing or being an athlete and also teaching. And sometimes people, sometimes there are like world-class athletes who don't teach things very well because they don't have that gift. What's the difference for you, and how are you able to switch those modes?
I don't know. That's not really coming from me. It's coming from the way I am. I think it's you're right. I agree with you. I know a lot of athletes. They're good fighters, but they are not a good teachers. And some of them are very good teachers, but are not a good fighters. And somehow the God gave me this opportunity to have the both, and then. And I'm very happy. See, I also, a lot of people, they cannot teach their own son, like a lot of time they give the son someone else to teach or something. But I grow my son up, and he's 29 years old. He's a 6-time national champion, but an Olympian for the United States in Judo. He's a 6'5", almost like 100 kilo. He's a killer kid. And everybody see him, and without even fighting him, I already scare him because he's so big and strong, But I'm the coach, and I coach him, and I make him champion. And not only him, in between 35 years, I give 168 black belts. I give 23 fighters in UFC. I give approximately 10 fighters in Bellator. And I'm not counting small events in a year. We have over 20 pro fighters right now in my school. And we're preparing Gegard Mousasi's fighting on 28. So we do all this teaching, and beside all that, and I'm competing. But the teaching part, like I say, with the competition, I did 18, 19 years, I didn't compete at all. I was focused myself to teach. That's why this year, I say, you know what? Everybody asking me what you can do if you do in a jiu-jitsu, what you can do. I say, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. Then I say, okay, 2019, I'm going to go and compete. So I did compete and show everybody what I can do. So now everybody say, oh, okay, we understand now.
Did you?
That's what, and also I want to do it, Yeah.
Did you learn anything from that? Did you surprise yourself in any way, or did the experience have any big gain for you?
No, I didn't surprise because I know all these guys are competing with me. Doesn't matter the age. They all training hard.
Yeah.
Those guys are very strong, very, very strong, unbelievable strong guys. And 50 years old guys that people think they're old. The 50, it's pretty strong time. Maybe the body doesn't move the like 20 years old guys, but those guys are stronger than the young guys. I'm telling you, the grips are strong and the mind strong. They're very smart and everything. As much as I'm looking myself in the mirror, I'm old. Those guys are old, but I'm stronger. They're stronger. Only one thing I have to be honest with you. I love to compete. I like to win. I like to stay at the first place, and that's my place. I never give up anybody. But one thing I don't like after the tournament, I don't like to watch myself competing, because I competed 20 years ago. I was a younger and better and faster and not smarter than now. But now I'm looking myself. I say, who the hell this old guy is? I don't like myself watching me fighting, so that's the only things I don't like. Everything else is fun.
But do you think that there's that advantage to just you know more? You've continued to learn about grappling versus when you were younger and faster and all that stuff. There's definitely some sort of a balance between slowing down too much and also knowing a ton. And as you learn things, you're more of a martial artist as you continue to add another title to the pile of accomplishments. It's very impressive.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. And that's what my things. They offer me a lot of money to compete. But I told them, I said, I'm working, I make money. And they say, Gokor, when you're going to compete the world championship, you're not going to make any money out of it. I said, no, the money is not important. For me, the title is more than the money. To become a jiu-jitsu world champion, it's a title, and it's a good for me, because this way I will complete my every world championship sports. And now I'm even thinking in December to go compete grappling one more time in the world championship. But everybody telling me I don't need it anymore. Yeah, I say if I feel good, I will do it. People don't understand me. They say you have a good name in the martial art world, and everybody know who you are, and everybody respect you. And now you come up and win the world championship and one more time. And what else you need it? I say I'm not doing this for people. I'm doing it for myself. I'm having fun. And they said, yeah, what happened if you go and lose? I said, normally I never go for losing. I go for winning. But if I lose, if somebody better than me can beat me up. It's okay. He said, yeah, but your name. I said, listen, all the best guys in the world win and lose. It's nothing to shame on that. Yeah, I said, but you never lost your career. I said, well, will be one lost. It's what's going to be happen. But of course, every time I prepare myself, I don't go for losing. I go for winning only. The people asking me if you go into competition to compete. I say, no. I'm not going to compete. I'm going to win. This is what I go for. I don't go for compete. I don't go for lose. I don't go for nothing. It's only the things I go for is winning. It's not that like I'm trying to talk big. This is what I've been when I was a kid. I never go tournament to compete. I always go to win. That's what my strategy,
That's an interesting way to get yourself mentally ready. If you're coaching somebody and they look a little bit nervous before the match or the fight, what kind of a thing do you say to them to help get their mind ready to go?
When my students are competing, I'm more nervous than I compete in myself. So because myself, I know I can correct things if it's wrong, But my student doing something wrong, then I have to yell it and let him know. If he corrected, good, I'm happy. If not corrected, then I'm nervous so badly, you know. When I was competing and my students are yelling, Sensei do this, Sensei do that, Sensei do this, I was laughing myself. I said, come on, you guys have to be quiet because I really know what I'm doing here. You know, even I'm slow down, I slow down for purpose. If I give my arm to the guy, my student calling, Sensei, move your right arm. He's going to catch you an armbar. But I purposely giving my arm to the guy because he's so much locked up. It's hard for me to open his legs in the guard. I give my arm, and he said, oh, the nice arm, let me do the armbar, you know? So this way I don't have to spend too much of my energy to open it. He will open up for me. You know, those things, it's a simple things for me. And some people scared to give arms, some people scared to this and that. I don't scared to give. I know exactly what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah, and how do people get that? Is it just the years of training and work on the mats?
Well, you know, those people that are competing with me, they well know who I am. You know, he kind of a little nervous competing with me also. The final where I got the Brazilian guy, he was very angry, very... even before the match started, you know, he's just trying to psychologically try to show me he's a tough guy, you know. And, you know, I'm trying to be nice, and you know, I say, "How you doing?" And when I walk in, and he's not even answering me, and I say, "No problem," you know. And I walking around, and when he's competing, I beat him up, and then after that, he get up and he come and hug me. You know, I just being like nice and friendly. You know, the people thinking I'm a monster and I can hurt people or this and that. It's bullshit. You know, people know who I am, and they know I'm a very friendly person. You know.
So having seen the changes in grappling over the years in the world. What do you think is next? You know, like you mentioned that people, you know, are really keyed in on leg locks and really making a lot of changes, and you see a lot of submissions with attacking the legs. What do you think is the next direction that we go kind of as a group to gravitate towards?
Yeah, well, it's very hard to say what the next will be, but one of the things I can tell you, we develop exactly the way I developed the grappling. The exactly way today is. It's 35 years ago I was developed this one, what today it is. And nobody was listening to me that time. I tell the many jiu-jitsu guys, they say, no, jiu-jitsu, it's our life, it's our religion, this and that. It's like with the gi, we cannot do without the gi. We are not respected, and this and leg locks is dirty. We don't want any leg locks in our game, and this and that. This is what the words I hear it all the time. And when I told them, I say, yeah, guys, and you should take the gi out and fight without the gi. And oh, no, this is the way we are, and this is where we are. We are self-defense. I say, yeah, but nobody has a gi in the street. Oh, no, they have jacket, they have this. Yeah, great, but, you know, in the summertime, some people have only T-shirt. So you have to really, I love the jiu-jitsu game. I love the judo, sambo, grappling, wrestling. I love this. You know, like I say, I'm a champion of all the sports, but I don't have my favorite ones. Every sport are my favorite. But in the reality, if you come into the street fighting, the grappling is the most closest art up there.
Grappling is the what part? I missed that.
The most important for for street fighting, self-defense, the grappling. It's the most important one. So that's what I developed 35 years ago. Today, Leglocks are very popular, which is I did that 35 years ago. So exactly the way I developed it 35 years ago, maybe 20 years, it was sleeping. Not too many people are understanding, interesting. And these 15 years and maybe a little more, people wake up. New generation said, you know, there is a gold, there is a diamond over there, and you guys are looking at and you're not using it. Let me use it. Let's use it and start using and catching people. And the other people say, "Oh shit, we should do that too. We should do that." Okay, who can teach us? Okay, let's go see Gokor Chivichyan. Let's go see his videos and his this and that. Now a lot of people are doing the Leglocks and they're doing fantastic work, and a lot of people teaching in New York. John is doing a good job and his students are doing a good job. I meet him in the first time in the tournament. A nice guy, very nice person. You know, I'm enjoying to see a lot of people are doing it. What is I tried to tell in 35 years ago, but I'm happy to see it's working today. You know.
Yeah, if you could pick just any particular leg lock, and you see people doing it, what are some really common mistakes people are doing still today when they're attacking the feet or the legs?
The mistakes, they're always going to have it. You know, you're never going to do 100% when you're especially competing and someone competing back to you and the resist and everything. It's you know, not always you're going to do it. That's why I always tell my students you have to have a lot of combination. One doesn't go, you could change the next and the next and the next and that's until you get it. Yeah, like you be a glue touched to your opponent and never let him rest until you get what you want, you know. That's what that's the way you got. You cannot try one thing and two things and it doesn't work. Okay, let it go and you try to catch him again. Once you have the opportunity, you have to work on to finish, you know.
Yeah. If somebody comes to you and they're very good at judo and they want to try to do jiu-jitsu, what would you tell them to help them make that transition to having a successful jiu-jitsu?
Most of jiu-jitsu guys, I told them you have to learn judo. Because think about it, 25% stand up to 75% ground. Judo is completely opposite, 75% stand up and 25% on ground. If you do both, then you 100% stand up and 100% ground. Who's going to stop you? Nobody. So a lot of people, I tell them, and then, you know, some jiu-jitsu guys, they think if they train in jiu-jitsu, that's it. That's the best things. No, there is no such things. You train jiu-jitsu, if you open mind and you train judo, it's going to help you. Or train sambo, it's going to help you very, very much. But if you just catch one art and you want to become famous, no, forget about it. Maybe small tournaments you can be winning here and there, but eventually you can end up in a big championship. You're going to understand what I'm talking about today. You know, it's the same thing exactly what I talked about 35 years ago. And if I say today, and maybe another generation wake up in the next 20 years and say, shit, when doing jiu-jitsu, we have to do judo. But I'm telling you now, I can tell you myself, you know, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I'm doing judo, I'm doing sambo, I'm doing wrestling, I'm doing grappling, I'm doing MMA. I'm fighting with my guys every day. Even I don't go do MMA tournament now, but I'm fighting here all day long, you know. And it's the way it is, you know, it's the way it is. If you don't do it, then you will forget how to do it. And that's what I tell everybody. You train jiu-jitsu. If you want to fight jiu-jitsu tournament, you must train judo. If you're doing judo only, jiu-jitsu will help you for your mat work. You know, you're more focused. But judo doesn't allow you to go longer time in the ground. Sometimes you have to do things faster. Jiu-jitsu is kind of, you go ground and you can take your time. And that's why you can prepare your game the way you want it. You can be slow game, you can be fast game. The longest you win the game, it doesn't matter which way you win it. If you got the opportunity to submit, you submit it. You know.
Yeah, and you've taken some people very notable like Ronda Rousey or Karo Parisyan who have different backgrounds, and like so with judo, you know, you have those amazing grips and beautiful throws, but without the gi or without the cloth, they're not there. How do you make the transition from that to where somebody has dedicated so much time?
Yeah, that's coming to Ayastan system. We are not doing judo only, so our judo is very much mixed.
Okay.
This is why Karo Parisyan entered the UFC first time, beat up everybody, throwing everybody in the air. Everybody say, "Wow, what's going on here?" Karo Parisyan never been a world champion, never been an Olympic champion. But he's Olympic champions on judo and world champion judo. They come to UFC, they never can do anything good.
Yeah, it's
okay.
tough.
Now the difference, I tell you, it's a highest system. System is basically we take judo throws and we take sambo throws and we train in our grappling techniques. This is why the grappling art is a very powerful. And a lot of people thinking, oh, Ronda Rousey is a judo player. Look at what she's doing. So Ronda Rousey is training very much grappling all day long and with her judo techniques. And we developed the highest system on her. And she walk in and start beating everybody. Without the gi, she never look at the gi, they have it or not. Doesn't matter. It's not a judo. It's a highest grappling system. And Karo Parisyan, highest grappling system. Manny Gamburian, highest grappling system. Okay, Manny or Karo never come a UFC champion because of certain reason why you're not here and there training hard or not and things like that. I don't want to go there. But they brought the beautiful throws, the beautiful things. They go up to the final. They do everything the best. Not too many schools can get that high, But again, whatever you see in our school at the beautiful throws, beautiful everything, yes, it's judo, yes, it's sambo, but no, it's highest system. That's the system what we develop to our students' blood, and that's what they go there and do the throws are nice and beautifully. And other judo guys are world champion, Olympic champion, they come, they cannot do nothing because they are not considered as a highest system,
Yeah, it sounds like a tough thing to fight against. You did the jiu-jitsu in the gi. Would you consider doing a no gi match or a no gi tournament?
For me, either is it's same. Some people I compete without the gi. When I beat them up and they say, I'm not that good in without the gi, but with the gi I'm different. I say, okay, no problem. Put the gi on. You put the gi on, and I put the gi on, and then when I fight, they say, shit, you're more dangerous with the gi than without the gi. I say, yeah, but, that's a poor man talking. Oh, I'm not good without the gi. Oh, I'm good with the gi. Oh, can you put the gi because I don't know how to fight without the gi? I said, I don't want to hear those kind of sissy words, I say, you're an athlete, you're a fighter, you have to fight with everything. Somebody come with the gi, you have to fight with the gi. Come without the gi, you fight. Somebody come with the gloves, you have to punch and kick with him. That's the way it is. You are the fighter. You have to prepare yourself different ways. You go street fight, somebody punch you, say, you know what, I'm not a boxer, please don't punch me. If you want to grapple with me, I can grapple with you. No, that's not such things, That's why my students I told them, I say, you are not a grappler only. You are not a judo. You're not a jiu-jitsu. You are an MMA fighter. You have to do the boxing. You have to train the kickboxing. You have to come grappling. You have to do the judo, jiu-jitsu. You have to do all these things. When I punch you, you know how to defend yourself. You know how to come back, and you punch me back, And there's not only one sport. You choose the sport you love and go to competition. That will be your main, but you have to know everything else. This is what the Hyaston system wants.
Yeah. You've mentioned the Hyaston system. The word Hyaston, that's just kind of a throwback to home, right? I mean...
yes, the Hyaston, it means Armenia. The Armenian system. So I don't consider calling Armenian system like a Brazilian say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I can say the Armenian system. But Armenia is like kind of more international, and it will be nice and beautiful. Kind of the time when I started the Team Hyaston, Team Armenian system, which is, I decided to put Hyaston system because most of the time when you hear it in Armenia, when they talk in Armenia, they don't say Armenia. They say Hyaston. And, that's basically what we use as our language, Hyaston. And I've developed this to most of the Armenian guys in America or anywhere in the world. And when they're learning the system where we have, they will be proud to call them, say, Hyaston system, because I can call a Gokor Chivichyan system. I can call anything else in my name in there, but I want to represent the nationality. I want to represent the country, the small country. They give them most of the Olympic gold in wrestling, boxing, everything. The Hyaston in Armenia it's 90% the athletes and 80% them brings gold to the country. We are in a very much athletic people and very much love to fight, and we love to train. That's what the country gave it to me when I was 5 years old, and I will never forget it. So most of the time I go to Armenia helping my friends and my students and my other people that they're looking help to get. And also same time I help all the world, the Europe and Australia, all Japan, everywhere in America.
Yeah, you do travel quite a bit. When was the last time you went to Armenia?
Armenia, I go every year.
Do you?
Sometime, yeah, I go every year. I go there and do seminar and I help the people and whatever I can. But at the same time I do European tour. I go to 7-8 countries, different places every time. Sometimes I travel 2 times a year, and like I'm getting ready for the next month 7. I'm going to Germany. I have German team here, but now they say, "Oh, looking forward to see you in Germany." Of course, and they train here, and then I'm gonna go 2 weeks later and train them there.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of world champion from Germany. I have student Yauz. He's a 3-time world champion, number 1 in grappling, number 1 in jiu-jitsu. This guy comes and train with us, and he's an awesome jiu-jitsu guy, awesome grappler. Very nice person.
Gokor, you have a lot of instructionals. Where's do you recommend any in particular that the student might go check out?
It's very difficult to say that, all the DVDs I have, it's all different for different people. Some beginners, they should get a little beginner one, a little advanced one, get the advanced one. And, I think all DVDs are very important and the people will help a lot of people. The seminars are helping a lot too, because the same time and the questions, answer, and the place. I'm thinking there is other things I'm going to do. I'm preparing. I don't want to mention that right now on the here, but in the future, I got a lot of big plans, and and also another things. Also, I teach LAPD over 27 years, sheriff department, and a special force. I work with them over 5 years, and I'm not working right now because I'm so much busy. But in all these years, and I've been in America many times, I helped all of those guys too, and so they can self-defense themselves in the street,
Yeah, that's great and very important that you're doing that for and helping people that could find themselves out there in danger.
Yeah, I always help people, and I always will help until I die, and when I be 100 years old. I'm not going to die at 98, 99. I'm going to live up to 100 years.
Good.
That's why it's my contract with God. It's 100 years. That's it. God says, okay, I give you 100 years, but you have to promise me you still, until the day you die, you're still going to help people. I say, yes, I promise. So this is it, my friend. You guys going to see me up to 100 years, and
All right. If somebody wants to keep up with you or follow you on social media, where's a good place to do that?
Easy. To find me, it's like nothing like you to find your own house. It's Gokor.com. It's simple. My website, Gokor.com. So simple. And I'm in Facebook. I'm not really too much in a Facebook myself, but my sons and my wife, they write it for me and left and right. And there's Instagram, they can look at me. Email, it's GokorC, like Charlie, @me.com. They can email me things. Last time when I win this world championship, I got over 250,000 emails in my house. I couldn't even answer some of them. If I don't answer, if you listen to this program, I'm sorry, my friend. It's too many emails and too many. Some people writing page and page. I cannot even read that much, But I'm always looking forward to whatever I can do and help people. If they're in front of me, ask question, I definitely will answer.
All right, and if they want
to find me, and the phone number's there too.
Good. And if they want to train with you, you're in North Hollywood is where your gym is. That's correct?
Yes, in our gym, it's 7229 in Atoll, North Hollywood. It's in a very much close to Sherman Way and Fulton. And it's 13,000 square feet big. 2 buildings attached together, and it's beautiful setup in there. We have 5,000 square feet mat area. We got the boxing ring. We have the octagon. We have the big area to do your cardio, your boxing, your kickboxing. I have a best teachers on working here. Kickboxing instructor is the Benny the Jet. I'm sure the Benny the Jet, everybody will have to know if you're doing a martial art. And then also we have a boxing coach, the Roman Karmazin, 4-time world champion and professional from Russia, from Moscow. And, we got Jean LaBelle, you got me, and, and then also we got a lot of other teachers that they're awesome, like Sako Balyan. There's a boxing coach, Marcus. They're coaching, all these guys are coaching the children's, and, we are not working with the younger generation, but we work in adults, but we have almost 11 guys that are working here. Jonathan Martin, my pro fighter, is teaching MMA for the younger kids and stuff like that. So I can mention more and more. We have a 5 years old, started with 5 years old and goes up to whatever the healthy to can train. There's no age limit.
That's awesome. And if you're near the area, go check them out. It'll be amazing training.
Yeah, the German team has here. Some of them do Wing Chun. Now we have in a Wing Chun in our school. So anybody were interesting, we have a coach here from Armenia, and now he just started like 2 weeks ago. So he's gonna start collecting a lot of students. So basically, our it's a very universal school. We do everything here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Gokor, for hopping on here with me and chatting with me.
No problem, my friend. Any question or anybody else a question, please email me, call me, or, just contact me somehow. If the people looking for seminar, I'm available, and we can do the seminar, whatever you are. We can talk and we can agree whatever is, whatever I do. Well, you come to LA, give me a call every time. And you're always welcome to come and train. So I don't know what else I can do to help you guys, and just let me know.
And it was great to have Gokor on the podcast today. A legendary figure in grappling or combat sports, not just jiu-jitsu, not just judo or sambo. Really, he really hits a full range of different experiences that he has, and he brings to the table. It makes him such a valuable person to have in grappling in general. So definitely go check him out on social media or go to his website. And if you get the chance to train with him, definitely do that. He's a very nice guy. If you thought this was an interview that somebody, one of your friends would appreciate, tell them. Word of mouth is one of the best ways that podcasts grow. So obviously, a few people that train jiu-jitsu, mention the podcast. You don't have to, do a little commercial, but say, hey, I heard this cool interview, and I think you'd get a kick out of it. Check it out at BjjBrick.com. You know what? They've got 300 plus episodes on that website. You can spend a lot of time there learning about jiu-jitsu from some people that more knowledgeable than the hosts. So Gary's not here today. Gary and I live in Wichita, Kansas. Happy to train with any listeners that happen to live here or be traveling through. It's always fun to get on the mat with our listeners and get some mat time. Just send us a message through our Facebook page or BjjBrick@gmail.com, and we'll arrange a time, if possible, that you're here, that we could train with you. Get some good mat time in. Joe, where could they find you rolling around nice and sweaty?
Yeah, I'm about 50 minutes south of Houston, Texas. So if you're on the south side of Houston for business or on vacation, let me know, and we can find some place in between and train. You know what? We have a lot of gyms here in Texas. You know what else we have a lot of, Byron? Skate parks.
Okay, good. I didn't know where you go with that, Joe.
That reminds me that we did have an article this week we haven't covered yet. And it's about learning to get better at skating. So the listeners might think that I found this article, but actually Byron did. But it's interesting. I started skating about 3 years ago now, and part of the reason I started skating was because I had read Daniel Coyle's book, The Talent Code, and I was just kind of interested in taking some of the things that he said in that book and applying them to something other than jiu-jitsu. So that's kind of how I got into skating. And so this article, which can be found on boardblazers.com, it's a skateboard site I'm not familiar with, but they've got 5 points here, 5 ways you can get better at skating. And I really like number 2 because it says step by step. And that's one of the things that Daniel Coyle broke down in his book was if you're trying to learn, let's say, a judo type toss from your feet, that there are so many small elements to that, the footwork, the grips, and you can just break it down. And if you watch, especially high-level judo players train, that's kind of what they do. They'll just make that entry, the grips, and then the little shuffle step. They'll do that 1,000 times. And so that's one thing I've applied to skating, and it applies to jiu-jitsu as well, wouldn't you say, Byron?
Yeah, this is kind of the idea. Last week we did a article that I think was about soccer, and today, this week we're talking about skateboarding. I think it's interesting to look into these other communities, but really you're learning something, and physical skills translate over each other. So it's kind of a cool way to maybe pick up some different tips as far as looking at jiu-jitsu from this perspective. And yeah, the step-by-step thing is a big one. And you know what? Not a big surprise. There's a big YouTube community on there's a big skateboarding community on YouTube where they have lots of advice and lots of videos about how to skate and do certain tricks and stuff, and that's a resource listed here as well. Go to YouTube and learn some stuff from there. That's pretty much going to be anything in the world. So definitely there's lots of stuff on about jiu-jitsu on YouTube, and that's when it's kind of odd, but you know, as a podcaster and we do have a YouTube channel. Search for BjjBrick, it should pop up. But that's one thing I haven't really gotten into is showing technique videos. I think there's a lot of it out there, and some of them are by like some of the best instructors in the world. And I think podcasting or talking or answering questions is kind of our niche. Definitely, we have techniques we could share, but why not just YouTube it and find somebody who's a world-class athlete showing you? It's kind of been my philosophy. I thought about changing that, but I don't know. like skateboarding, do you like when you find the video about skateboarding? I'm sure there's lots of people who have been skateboarding for a long time that have great videos. But it says on here, if you type in "learn to skateboard," there's 500,000 skateboard results, or results for that search. That's amazing, but okay, I think they've got that one covered.
Yeah,
unless somebody has a unique approach,
there.
Yeah. But YouTube is a great, and then so to compare that one, there's also a website called Braille Skateboarding, and it's kind of like we have these in jiu-jitsu as well, kind of a more toned up version of video instruction where you're getting more specific training, maybe. Like Joe's more familiar with the site than I'm not familiar with it at all, but it's taking you out of the 500,000 videos for how to skateboard and showing you just a few people instructing a few things that they think are keys. And so that might be kind of a way to kind of siphon out some of the stuff that's not relevant to you and to find a more focused training.
You know, Braille's got 2 things that they do that are unique to anybody else, and I don't see them exactly in jiu-jitsu, but man, I think they're great ideas. Byron, take some notes here. One of them is they've got a couple of video series out, and it's tricks in a progression that they've put some thought into this, done some studying. Like if you learn this trick first, then this is the next logical trick to learn. This is the next one after that. So they've got 5 tricks in one video, and then they've got a second. And so it's progression. And so think about, what are the very first things you should learn in jiu-jitsu? What things build off of those? That's an interesting concept. But another thing that they do is they'll have kids. Braille's mostly geared towards 12, 15-year-old kids, but it's all good stuff. But they'll have kids send in video or digital footage, say, I'm having a hard time with my kick flips, and here's what they look like. And then the guys at Braille will watch it, and then they'll record a response video and say, it looks like, you need to turn your left foot more and you need to focus on that kick or you need to pop high or whatever. And it would be interesting to see how that worked in jiu-jitsu too. So, it's almost the Gracie method where you do a video of you rolling and then you send it to Byron and let him analyze it.
Yeah, that's interesting concept. So that's kind of addressing a different issue that is kind of brought up in the last point, hire professional. And so if you're skateboarding, you're out there and you're a little frustrated with things, find somebody, a professional in your local area that's going to help you. And this is it's less common in skateboarding. It's like it says on there, kind of a last resort. There are so many free resources available that are really good that this is kind of a free or last resort. But in jiu-jitsu, this is often the first resort where you, instead of trying to learn jiu-jitsu, from YouTube and basically being at home and maybe having a sibling or friend or spouse, whatever, to beat up on or to get beat up by, whatever, you're going to a place where there's already professional teaching you. And I don't know anything about the skateboarding world or culture, but it would be interesting to see. I'm sure someone's doing it somewhere where they have skateboarding classes and you go in, there's 30 students, there's one instructor, a very qualified person, and they're teaching the fundamentals and, expanding on that and different things for kind of a class setting. Or maybe it's all one-on-one. I don't know, but I think that's an interesting concept that jiu-jitsu does very well. I mean, just imagine how hard it would be to learn jiu-jitsu without having an instructor there with you ever. That's a very difficult situation to be in for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, absolutely. They do make a good point at the end of that point that nobody wants to pay good money and have their time wasted. So if you're hiring for a private or something, make sure it's the right guy for you. Make sure you're going to get your money's worth. And I also always say, don't forget that your coach is a great resource. They'll oftentimes give you privates at really affordable rates or not charge you at all. And they see what you're doing every day. So don't forget that. Yeah,
that's the issue with sending a video into somebody else to have them watch versus rolling with your coach and that person kind of finding some mistakes or some stuff to work on. One of my favorite things to do as a sometime coach is to roll with somebody and then find an area of their game that is really good, but they're just not capitalizing on that. Like, let's just say I'm rolling with Joe and his side control is really good, and he's able to isolate my arm. But when he does that, he goes to mount. So hey Joe, do you ever think about attacking that arm? And he's like, if he says no, then okay, this is going to be great for you because you're doing all the difficult things already. Let's try attacking that arm because you're going to mount, which is a nice thing to do, of course. But I thought you were going to armbar me for sure, and you need to be at least aware of that attack that's there for you. So that's something as a coach that really gets me excited when a student is doing something and it's like, what you're doing is awesome. Let's add to that particular thing, and we're going to take it to the next level. And that's hard to do with a YouTube video.
Yeah.
But it's been fun looking at the skateboard article and kind of getting some jiu-jitsu ideas from it. And I don't know, maybe we'll do it again next week. Maybe we'll make a thing of it and do it again for a while. Find other sports. So that would be a thing because we have a nice audience out here listening. If you're into another sport, like Joe's into skateboarding, that's cool. If you're into something else, let's just say, I don't know, golf. What are we supposed to say right a thing? I don't play golf myself, but if you have a golf website or you have a favorite golf website or whatever sport and write something for that, send it to us. And if we could make it kind of a jiu-jitsu-y theme about learning something, a skill, similar to the way we did this and similar to what we did to soccer, that'd be kind of fun.
Yep. Yeah. So let us know, guys.
Guys, I want to give a quick mention of our Patreon page. If you enjoy the podcast and want to support us, we would greatly appreciate that. And what most podcast Patreon supporters have done is they go to the Patreon page and they pledge like $1, $2 or $3 per episode. So at the end of the month, that pledge will come forth, and it really helps the show out quite a bit. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Bogdan, Sam, and Kiki for their support on Patreon. We also send out a little welcome pack or a little appreciation pack anywhere in the world. So that was a little bit of a surprise to some of our international audience members. Like, hey, you did send it out way out here. I'll put a stamp on it. The post office does the rest. But we'll mail you out a couple of BjjBrick gi patches. You get the throwback patch, and you get the very nice updated BjjBrick gi patch with Joe on there. A lot more colors. It just looks really good. And also send out a sticker in the mail with you. And there you go. And also, if you're a Patreon supporter, please send me a message on Facebook, and I'll invite you to our private Facebook group where we do all the behind-the-scenes trash talk about Gary. It's a lot of fun on there. Joe does a great job with our main Facebook page. You're 99% of that, I would say.
I don't know, man. What you lack in quantity, you make up for in quality. You put some good stuff up there. So, people should stop by and check it out for sure. I
did put up a video that didn't really go anywhere. I was like, let's do this live thing, because Joe did it a couple times and it kind of inspired me. And I made a short video a few weeks ago, but now it's probably a little bit longer. And I asked a question, and I got some responses, but I just don't. Joe, I'd like to hear your opinion, and I'll re-ask the question.
I think maybe that's something we have to do more consistently to
make it grow,
to get much reaction or response.
But it's the question. I would like to have like an answer.
Well, I think my friend Randall knocked it out of the park. He was kind of paraphrasing. He acknowledged he picked it up from somebody else. I think John Danaher, and that is basically that the point system in jiu-jitsu has to do with the amount of punishment you could deliver, including strikes, versus the amount of punishment that you could receive. And so when you're knee on belly, it's not the best control position. Maybe there's not a lot of submissions readily available, but your opponent can't punch you. And if they don't know jiu-jitsu, they're not going to sweep your leg or nothing. And if you wanted to just rain down punches, that's a brutal. And I think, is Holt a police officer?
Yeah. He's actually came to Wichita. I trained with Gary, and I beat us up a bit. So
but he's kind of said the same thing. He said from a police officer standpoint, it's a great control position.
So the question I ask is, why do we give points for knee on belly? And my perspective is, it's a type of side control. So we don't give points for types of positions. We just give points like Kasamatami, or high mount would be a type of mount, or back with hooks versus back with the figure four, like variations on positions. This is the one example that it's not. To me, knee on belly, it's a form of side control. And
I want to say, until just recently, I had never heard that it's a form of side control. I had always thought of it as a separate position.
Okay, and maybe that's correct. But to me, let's just picture the type of side control that is. I don't watch a lot of current MMA, but I think of like Matt Hughes. He gets side control. He pins one of your arms with his legs, and he pins one of his arms with his head and shoulder, and he has a free arm to elbow you in the face area. That's a type of side control that's excellent for strikes. That no points.
So one thing that would be interesting to find out is, when they made the point system, did they give you points for like scarf hold, reverse scarf hold, or did you have to get the standard 100 kilo position to get the points? So do you know?
I don't know, and they don't award points for that, do they?
Oh, well, you're right. So maybe that's why you get the points for knee on belly. It is a transition towards more dominant position.
But I'm just confused by it, because it seems like and maybe I'm classifying it wrong, but it seems like a type of side control. There's a lot of variations. Like if you think of the types of guards, man, there's a huge variety of guards. I mean, you could look like a deep half to an inverted guard to closed guard. Those look nothing alike, but those are all guard. So to say that knee and belly is a variation of side control, it's not that much different. You're past the legs, you're controlling their body, it's a place to attack from. It is a good place to strike from.
Yeah, your hands are free.
Yeah,
or more free. It helps if you have some grips and stuff, but
for submissions, it's a low percentage. If you look at competitive jiu-jitsu and look at the statistics, people aren't getting submissions from knee and belly. They're getting submissions from back and from mount. And I think guard has more submissions than knee and belly.
Pretty much attacking the far arms about your only option, isn't it? Or setting up some sort of a baseball bat choke or something.
Yeah. So I'd like to hear more input. So now we're mentioning this to a bigger audience. Comment on the on Facebook on the notes, not the notes, on the comment section on Facebook if you have that. Your opinion about why knee and belly has points. I think it's a historical thing, and that it's just been part of jiu-jitsu, and it probably will be part of it for a long time. But it's an odd thing that if you look at all the other point things, guard passing, so they don't award points for side control. That's the other thing, but they do for a variation of side control. And maybe somebody could dismantle my whole variation on side control. But if you look at all the different types of guards, or types of mount, even the jiu-jitsu varies quite a bit, and it would be hard to look at that position and not classify it. If you're going to classify it as where would it fall, it's definitely not. You might be able to say mount, maybe, but I would say it leans towards side control. So, yeah, I don't know. It's been something that I've thought about, but never really threw up into the air, and I figured I would ask you guys. And it's great, like Holt was talking about. It's great for law enforcement. I love that position when I work with law enforcement. That's one. It's better than side control because it allows you to have situational awareness. It allows you to disengage at any point in time. If you have me in side control, you're winning the fight. I sometimes will have the ability to reach behind you and lock up my arms, and you're stuck to me. That's a problem. If you want to,
I think you're making your point for points for knee on belly.
But it's a variation. It's the same as a butterfly guard is different than a closed guard. Like I could get up quicker.
You're just talking about how superior it is.
It's great. No, I would say for strikes, the Matt Hughes style is better because they're stuck. But in jiu-jitsu, it's not the best submission to think. I don't know. I could go back and forth, and I my opinion changes. I'm fluid on it, but I don't think it's a clear cut yes or no, not to me anyway. But maybe you're more clear in your thoughts with it, Joe.
I don't know. The more you're talking, the more confused I get. But
that happens all the time with everybody I talk to.
I kind of keep going back to when the point system was first originated. Jiu-jitsu was still considered to be more of a self-defense, and a lot of the people that were jiu-jitsu guys when they competed, it was in mixed martial arts type of Valley Judo or whatever.
Yeah.
And, so from that standpoint, it maybe is significantly different than your average side control. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's funny to look at it from strike's point of view because it's a good position to strike from, but from submission point of view, it absolutely justifies back and mount being worth 4 points. But it would almost justify knee and belly being worth nothing. Because, there are lots of submissions, but competitive jiu-jitsu in equal matches, you don't see a lot of knee and belly attacks that end in submissions. I don't know. I'm excited to hear. I'm glad because I had forgotten to mention this on the podcast, but excited to hear some of your guys' thoughts on it. And my mind is open to be persuaded one way or the other. It's just a thing. But I also wouldn't be surprised if in 5 or 10 years, these submission tournaments that really want to get people to submit things don't give, I guess they don't give points anyway. A lot of them don't. But if you want to encourage submissions, encouraging someone to spend time on knee and belly is not necessarily doing that. Man, I got myself all worked up, Joe. It's early in the morning still.
I was pretty okay with everything till you made that last statement.
About what? About the submission only?
Spending time on knee and belly doesn't lead to submissions.
It can open somebody up, but
Yeah,
statistically, it
your
doesn't
door.
help.
It's your door to go to mount or something else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the comments.
Awesome.
More than ever for any question we've ever asked, because I don't have this one figured out, and we've only got between all three of us, including Gary. So we have over 40 years of jiu-jitsu, and I think we should mention that occasionally because I don't know. It's important when we talk about life lessons and talk about quotes that we have some background in jiu-jitsu to kind of bring these things back onto the mats. Anyway, it's been fun, and stay sweaty, my friends.
Don't forget to shower.
Train hard, train smart.
Get better, guys. We'll see you on the mats.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.